and welcome back to Emmy Law's YouTube channel, your go-to source for valuable insights on legal matters. I'm your host, CEO, founder, and principal lawyer of Emmy Law, and today we're going to be having a discussion around surviving fire emergencies and understanding your legal rights. Fire emergencies can be very terrifying and chaotic, but knowing your legal rights can make all the difference in the world and in ensuring your safety and protecting your interests. In this video, we'll explore the key legal rights and responsibilities you need to know for surviving a fire emergency. In Canada, provinces like Alberta, British Columbia, Quebec, sometimes Ontario, basically all of Canada can experience wildfires. And wildfires are usually common between the months of May and September, and sometimes earlier in some parts. In 2023, for example, all of the Canadian provinces were affected by wildfires. If you lived in downtown Toronto, you could recall the smoke, the smell of forest burning last year. That's all because there was wildfires. Wildfires can cause extensive damage to your property and can put your life in danger. The best way to protect yourself and your family in the case of a wildfire is to do these following steps. Number one, you need to stay informed. The way you do that is you want to monitor the weather, you want to listen to the local authorities, and you want to prepare to evacuate if you need to evacuate. Number two, you need to keep your vehicle fueled, because if you have to evacuate, you will not have time to fill up your vehicle with gas. Number three, you need to follow the instructions to evacuate, and you need to bring your emergency kit with you. And number four, you only re-enter your home or your condo or your business when you're instructed by the officials or your community leaders, being your mayor or anybody else. If you live in an area that is prone to wildfire, you should always plan beforehand in order to stay safe and have an emergency plan in place. You should tune in to the radio or your local news channels and or follow your local news outlets and emergency officials on social media for possible wildlife alerts. You need to make sure that you have home insurance that covers damages due to fires. The government of Canada has a Canadian Wildlife Fire Information System. It is easily accessible online, and it's a fire management information system that monitors fire damage conditions across Canada 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it also includes an interactive map that gives you up-to-date reports on the fire situation across Canada. It displays colors that indicate the level of fire danger from being low to being extreme. You also need to know the difference between an eviction alert and an eviction order. An eviction order means that you are at risk and should evacuate the area immediately. Follow the routes specified by officials and move away from the fire. An eviction alert means that you should be ready to leave on a short notice. During a fire emergency, your safety is paramount. When authorities issue an eviction order to protect lives, it is crucial to comply promptly. Failure to evict not only endangers your life, but also risks the safety of first responders. Remember, eviction orders carry legal weight, and violating this can lead to penalties. You need to visit a website called First Smart Canada for information and to also complete an assessment on how to protect your home and property. You need to learn fire safety techniques, and the website also teaches you and your members of your family, okay? It offers great tips like removing combustible materials from under your decks, cleaning and maintaining your home's gutters, roofs, and decks, and even suggesting you to plant wildfire-resistant vegetation, okay? You also need to keep your vehicles fueled as mentioned to determine 2 routes out of your neighborhood and practice your eviction plan frequently. Now, if you have a farm or a ranch, leaving livestock unsheltered is preferable, or if you have time and personal safety permits, then you can evacuate from the danger zone your livestock and your ranch, okay? And you should consider an evacuation plan for your animals. You need to talk with your family and neighbors about what you need to do together during a wildlife fire. That way you can identify a safety plan and you can put it in place together. You need to have, like I mentioned, you need to have practice drills with your family so you know when and what to do and you are prepared. You need to make a personalized emergency kit. You should prepare a self-sustaining kit that will last you for 3 days with food and with water and with so forth, right? If you have already dipped into your emergency kit and the food supply while staying at home, consider safely getting the supplies to replenish for your safety kit. And if you're following your local public health authorities guidelines for when to leave your residence, okay? So for example, if we go through another incident of COVID-19, you obviously need to put in your safety kit masks and sanitizers. Now, during an actual wildfire, you should be prepared to evacuate at any time. If told to evacuate, you should do so. You need to monitor your local radio stations for up-to-date information about the fire and possible road closures, okay? You need to park your car positioned forward out of the driveway. You need to keep your car windows closed, and you need to have your valuables ready to be packed in your car should you need to evacuate. Now, if you do not evacuate your home, it's imperative that you close all your windows and doors in your house to reduce any smoke and debris from entering your home. And you need to follow instructions on how to minimize fire damage. Like I stated before, you need to move all your combustibles away from the house, including firewood and lawn furniture. You need to move any propane barbecues into the open away from structures. After a wildfire, you should get a copy of the Red Cross Guide to Wildfire Recovery. And it provides you information on what to do after you've experienced fire in your home. You need to continue to take precautions and listen to follow directions from local authorities. Only re-enter your home if you're authorized to do so by the officials. Okay? You need to contact your local government office for help in finding temporary housing if you cannot stay in your home during the fire damage. Check your local authorities to see if you're eligible for financial assistance due to disasters, okay? And use caution when entering burned areas because there may still be hazards, including hotspots, which can flare up without warning. You have to ensure that the food and water is safe. Discard any food in your home once you re-enter it that may have been exposed to heat, smoke, or soot, and do not use water that may be contaminated. Take an inventory and photos of your ruined furniture, appliances, books, etc., for insurance purposes, and keep all receipts related to living expenses and repairs, etc., because your insurance will want to look at that. If your property does sustain significant damage in a fire, you may be entitled to compensation. Start by contacting your insurance company to initiate the claim process. You also have to make sure that you have insurance on your property that covers fire. So the first step even though now there might not be a fire, but you never know. Your condo in the middle of downtown Toronto or Vancouver or Edmonton could suddenly have a fire. You need to make sure you have insurance in place to cover that. Now, while you're going and doing the inventory after fire, you need to document all damages, as I said, all expenses incurred, including temporary housing you have to pay for and repairs. Remember, and I'm going to keep saying this in all my videos to you, thorough documentation strengthens your claim and increases the likelihood of receiving compensation through an insurance company. If you don't have that document to back up your claim, the insurance company most likely is not going to provide you compensation for that. Now, if you're in a rental property, both the landlord and the tenants have rights and responsibilities. You can, as a landlord, get insurance for your property, and so as a tenant as well. In the event of a fire, it's a landlord's responsibility to maintain the premises so that a fire doesn't start. Okay? What I mean by that is that they have to create a place that's you can live in, right? And then they also have to include measures that you as a tenant should take if a fire happens. But obviously, the landlord is also the tenant should be take some responsibility to that. It shouldn't be up to landlord. The tenants, they should communicate with their landlord about if a fire happens, the extent and damage of the fire, and if any accommodations are needed as a result of the fire. There needs to be an open dialogue, and there needs to be a cooperation between landlord and tenant to resolving any issues effectively. That's the same thing if you're renting a commercial property. It's the same thing. Your rights as a commercial tenant they should be in the lease agreement in the commercial lease agreement between a tenant and a landlord. Usually those types of agreements are lengthier than an agreement an agreement for a tenant taking on renting from a landlord. But usually a landlord will say in a tenant residential relationship that the premises should be kept orderly to avoid any fire, right? So you shouldn't be blocking doors with your goods, for example, right? When you enter a house after the fact, you should wear protective gear, including boots, safety glasses, and rubber gloves when cleaning up. Household items often take several cleanings to get rid of smoke, odors, soot, and stains. Legal liability can arise if someone is injured or killed in a fire damage to negligence. Property owners and managers have a duty to maintain a premises, which includes proper fire safety measures. Failure to fulfill this duty can result in legal consequences, including lawsuits and financial damages. Now, in some cases, government provides assistance that is available to individuals and businesses affected by fires. For example, during the 2023 wildfire season in Canada, the government of Canada had what was called work-sharing special measures, and they had this program in order to support businesses affected by the 2023 wildfires. And this, as I stated earlier, that there was a significant number of wildfires last year in Canada and affected a lot of spots, including people living in downtown Toronto. Now, some of these businesses in Canada were eligible for the work-sharing wildlife special measures, and those businesses typically were businesses located in affected area and or have major customers or major suppliers located in affected areas. And if you were one, you would have to follow the procedures under the Canadian government website, on how to apply for that program. But there is special programs like that when something like this occurs, okay? And now, if you encounter legal issues related to fire emergency, you should be seeking legal representation because it's essential. Any experienced lawyer and law firm can provide guidance and advocacy to protect your rights and interests. Take the time to find a qualified lawyer who either specializes in property law, regulations, and zoning, because that all takes place, that all involves city bylaws related to how you should develop and build commercial property, as well as you might need to look at a personal injury lawyer, right? If something happened, right? If you were hurt during a fire and so forth. Finally, you need to take steps to prevent and prepare, right? That's the main thing. Prepare and prevent, which are key mitigating factors when you're trying to deal with fire emergencies. For example, you should install smoke detectors. You should make sure they are operational. Sometimes you have to do testing every month for them. You need to maintain fire extinguishers. You need to develop evacuation plan for your home or your business. You need to being proactive in this sense can really save lives and maximize damage in the event of a fire taking place. Now, This is very, very important. It doesn't take, a significant amount of time, okay? You just need to be able to, for example, you own a business, you need to tell your staff, in the event of fire, this is how we're going to go down, this is where our meeting point, this is what we're going to do, especially if you have a larger business, right? It's not enough for the place that you're renting, the building you're renting out of, to impose those measures. You actually have to take steps to impose them, okay? Thank you for watching our video on surviving fire emergencies and understanding your legal rights. By knowing your rights and taking proactive measures, you can better protect yourself, your loved ones, and your property, and your staff. Remember, today's information isn't legal advice. If you need personalized guidance, reach out to us at 416-923-0003 or by email at intake@melaw.ca. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our video. We look forward to seeing you again next time. Till then, take care.